Okay, there we are. Need to put this on here. Welcome everybody, welcome to the stream today. We're going to be doing another feedback stream as usual. Tsuyino, I'm sorry for butchering that name, but welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Welcome everyone. Before we get into it, obviously I made a big announcement today. For those that haven't seen it, I started a label with some of my friends. So that's what I'm going to be talking about first. What I want to do is just kind of show the announcement video here, because it's just 2 minutes long. So we'll play the announcement together, and I'll wait a little bit of time for people to join in. This is just for those that haven't seen the announcement. I said it right? First time getting early. Greedo, welcome. Chizzy Wizzy, how are you doing? And Davey, welcome to the stream as well. So I'm just going to play the announcement so that you guys can hear along, and then if there's any questions you can ask me directly, and then in like 5 minutes we go into the feedback. For those that don't know, you can post your music in my Discord server. You just scroll down here and then you go feedback on stream, and then you post it there. So that's how you can join the queue. And then once we've built up some tracks, we'll get into the feedback on stream.
We started the label, and soon we will be releasing our first music. Here's a little preview.
Got to 50 subs already? That's nice to hear.
Hello everyone, today's announcement is probably one of the biggest I've ever made on this channel. Together with some friends, I've started the label called Eclipse Sound Syndicate. Those friends are Mind B, a talented producer that I've worked with in the past. Subject Ultra, one of my first viewers and longtime member of my community. Wartech, who is a talented 16-year-old psytrance producer.
He is in the chat, he is with us today.
A friend of Subject Ultra and also a producer with its own unique style. Together we've been planning for 6 months on this collaborative project, which will allow us to promote our music together. And in the future we're also planning to support other artists, but for now we're just focusing on getting this label off the ground. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done, of course, but the first music is ready to release and it will be releasing in 2 days. In total there's 7 tracks that will be released. They'll show up on the YouTube and SoundCloud pages of the label, as well as on streaming services and Bandcamp pages of each individual artist. So make sure that you're following us on all platforms if you don't want to miss out on that. As you can imagine, this is a very big project, so I want to thank all of you for supporting me through it, both over the last 6-7 months in which we prepared all of this, and hopefully also in the future. So that's everything that I want to announce today. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.
This is just in here because you needed to have at least one video on screen. Fairly annoying. Let's see the subscriber count here. We are at 5 subscribers for me, so I don't know where you're getting the 50 from. Is the label going to be on Bandcamp? Yes, we are going to have a label page on the Bandcamp platform as well. There's going to be individual artist pages and then the label page as well. Mind B also here, very nice to see. Darcha, welcome, how are you doing? Is mine glitchy prank? Okay, we are getting some posts already in the feedback queue here. For those that don't know, exclamation point feedback should get you to the Discord server where you can join in here and then scroll down to feedback on stream. And then you can post your track here. Do read this before posting. Make sure you don't get me in trouble with copyright and stuff like that. Obviously, when you're going to release the track, you need to make sure that it's cleared and that you're whitelisting my channel so that I don't get a copyright claim from your release. Because lately that's been happening a lot, and there's a video going to be made that explains everything. But this is a little bit of a Put the link to the label in the description. Is it not there? I'll check in a little bit. If it isn't there, then I'll put it in there. But as I was saying, make sure that you don't copyright claim my stuff, because that is happening a lot recently. So I'll make a video on that, explaining the situation, what you need to do when you plan on releasing your stuff, if you submit it to the feedback on stream. But I'll quickly check, as you said, the video, if the link is in there. Let me quickly get the YouTube page here. 2 seconds. And then we'll get into the feedback. It is indeed not in there. It should be updated now. It should have the updated version. Let me quickly check it.
We started the label, and soon...
Yeah, now it is in here. So now if you click here, you'll be directed directly to the label. And you can subscribe there. I'll also post the link in the chat for people who still want to subscribe, that you can do it directly from the chat as well. Thanks for all your amazing educational content. You mentioned you'd avoid getting into modular in an earlier video. Why is that? It is too complex. It's too big of a rabbit hole to dive into, and I would spend the next few years obsessing over all things modular, and I don't have the money for that right now. So I'm trying to protect myself from that kind of thing. Welcome, Steels. How are you doing? Okay, so get into the feedback now. We'll start with... Why is this not... There we are. Okay. Like this. We'll start off with King Thin over here. This link over here. I'll also show you the SoundCloud page. This is... this. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but it's in G and 150 BPM. So let's start. Cosmo, how are you doing? Nice kick texture, I like that.
Something starts with an E. England? Sorry, fine, no. Some kind of artificial adrenaline. Artificial adrenaline? Yeah. Got heart problems. Epinephrine. Yes, epinephrine. I love you, epinephrine.
Very well done on the sound design here.
What? Why? What do you mean?
Sounds a little bit strange, the key with what was happening before. Like it didn't quite fit. I do like that the kick and bass is nice and clean. Always like to see that. The bassline tone, however, is a little bit gritty in the high frequencies. Doing better a bit finally after surgery. Oh. Well, nice to hear that it went well. I like the sound design. Very good.
Nasal spray. What? Nasal spray. It's got epinephrine in it. I'm getting tweaked.
This area feels a little bit too busy in my opinion. And maybe the synths are a bit too mono here as well. I do like the play that you have going on with the panning. It does feel sometimes like there's a little bit of panning lacking to the left side, like it pans more to the right than it does to the left. I do like that you also have some sounds that are just in the center though.
Lightning. It's just struck my brain.
Well, that must hurt.
I've just had an apostrophe.
I think you mean an epiphany.
What?
I really like your vocal mix here. Sounds really good. As I said, you can hear the bass line has kind of like a double transient. You can see it, I think, as well. Do you see how there's like two spikes here? So it's almost like the bass line doesn't have enough click right away, like it stays open for a little bit and then starts to click down. To me personally, I like it more when there's like one specified click as opposed to two. Stereo field is your kryptonite. I know that it's especially hard for you, but that's why I like to point these things out. But overall, I do like that you're clearly doing it, you know, still trying to play with the stereo field and having some very stereo elements, some very mono elements, really shows that you do take it into consideration. The hats sound a little bit off to me, I do have to say. I do like that mono track there. The hat sounds very digital to me, maybe a bit too much. I do like the closed hat, but the open hat, what I would do is probably replace it with like a more classic 909 kind of hat. Or 808 hat, the open hat. Congrats on the label launch, thank you very much. Welcome to the stream. Here a few one-shots after maybe like 6 bars to start adding some extra interest to this idea here. Because I do really like the synths, but they feel a little bit empty at that point there. But this is nice, because this evolves a little bit more. very cool ending. I like that. Overall, very good track. There were some details that I think could be improved on, but the overall idea, I really, really like it, and I think it's a really nice track. So for those that are wondering, that was King Thin over here, with this track over here. Next up, we have Raul with Glitchy Prank. Guess it seems a little boring at times. I only really noticed it in the last part. That was the one part where I said, yeah, that's a little bit... has the potential to be boring if you don't add a few more elements to it. Nice deep kick and bass here. Maybe a little bit heavy on the sub bass. You can definitely turn down the sub bass a little bit. I would like to see a cleaner kick. I do think that the bass line is resampled and cleaned up, but the kick still seems to fade into your bass line over here. A few one-shots here and there would be nice. At this point, the vocals should probably turn off because this is the higher energy part. Now you're going to stack too many elements together. I do like that you're constantly introducing new sequences. What would be nice is to let some of the old sequences go after a few sections, because now what you're doing is you're just constantly adding more elements on top of each other, and it's harder and harder to actually make out what you want us to listen to. So here, this metallic sequence, yeah, it should be on its own. And then every once in a while you have a one shot. And then now we should get a fill somewhere. Right there. And then it should probably stop and introduce a new element. Which now you're doing with the melodic element here, so that should take over more in that case then. And you can have those particles turn off at this point. Hello Raul. Welcome to the stream. Very first Psytrance track. In that case, very well done. I do really like it. The sound design is good. Everything is on point. The kick and bass, as I said, the kick needs a little bit of cleaning, and then you need to think about the structure of where you place different elements. I have done a couple of videos on that, mainly my big arrangement video that I did over a year ago now. But I think it's still very good. This sound is very wide, the acid line. I think that will cancel poorly in mono. I might try some of the more chill out side stuff. It would be nice to hear some Psytrance for you, because I do think you have a very cool sound. There is indeed like a very strange notch in the file here, for some reason. You can also see it show up here. at this point the asset line is becoming boring because it has been continuing on for way too much time, right? We would have expected some kind of switch up at this point. Not that I can hear, but I can see it in the spec. It's one of those very narrow dips that you cannot really hear like just normally because the context kind of fills it in, the stuff that is directly around it, but you can definitely see it pop up here. So it's probably some kind of plugin malfunctioning or a very... Okay, that was very loud. Or it could be a very strange filter that you have turned on somewhere, doing some kind of phase shift. Maybe you're doing some parallel multiband processing. That's never a good idea because then it can introduce this kind of phase shifting. There's obviously some mixing issues in this, in that it all feels fairly bloated and stuff like that. One of the things I do also think contributes to that a little bit is there's a lot of delay and reverb in this track. Not like way too much, but I think a little bit too much. It feels like there's a continuous wall of delay and a continuous wall of transgate. And I think it would be nicer to just have the main melody come through a little bit more in certain sections and to have some more melodic themes and strong melodic ideas in the track. And even here it starts to sound much more like a wall of noise because there's two melodies playing like together. So it's really hard to distinguish anything that is happening. Overall, I really like the track. I do think for first time it is a very good track. I wish I could write such good psytrance when I first started out. But you can definitely hear that there's some technical issues with the track. And I think that if you practice obviously more, then you'll get obviously better. But I think that one of the things that you should take into account when you're writing your psytrance track is more of like the structure belonging to certain elements. So you'll have a main element in a certain section, and then you cannot introduce another main element before you take the other main element away again in the next section. So to quickly give an example of that idea, let's say that I just drop out the track structure somewhere. Say this one over here. I'm not even going to play it, I'm just going to draw out the example. So right here, the track starts, there's probably some one-shots, and then you get into your first sequence probably over here. Then this first sequence is going to be your main element. And then here it's going to transition into another main element. If I want a different main element here, which I want because we're in the next section, you have to remove the element that is playing in here. So they are kind of taking each other's space. And then here we have another build-up. It goes into this part, and then the next element plays. I need to turn on this, sorry. Is it not? That's strange. There we are. Now it's working. So for each part of the track, each section, you're going to have its own unique main element, essentially. And you're going to have ways that you can transition between them in the fills or in the build-up and the fill. Whatever length that you need to actually make that transition, that's how you're going to transition between them. And that's what your track is a little bit lacking, because it was just continuously just adding on top of each other. The other elements weren't being taken away when the new elements came in. They just kind of added to it. But overall, very good track, very nice sound design as well. Kick and bass was nicely designed, although it needed some cleaning and the sub was too strong. But if you want to check out this guy's progress, then make sure to do so right here. This track was Glitch Prank, the one that we just heard. And now we're going to go to Schmukas Lieds, Klauwland.mp3. So this is a Dropbox link. It's not available, or at least I don't have the link for his SoundCloud if he has one. But this is Klauwland. It's just a demo, so it's 1 minute 51 seconds. Cool key change. I like that. Nice relaxing groove here, I like it. You should probably play more with the stereo field, because like the flute is very mono. Even this bass line, because it's so high in terms of the register, could use some stereo width. It can also use some cleaning. You can see you didn't resample it, you also didn't resample the kick, so the kick is kind of bleeding into your bass line over here. I feel at this point a lush clap should have been introduced in this section. Maybe after 16 bars into this section. And then you can still switch to this snare over here, because I do like this snare quite a lot actually. Oh, the monitors, by the way, they arrive tomorrow. They changed the delivery date. So I can tell you tomorrow. The top drums are just kind of randomly stopping in places. Overall though, I do really like the vibe. I like where you're going for this kind of psy-chill kind of vibe. Very good track. This is still in its demo phase, so I think you can still change a lot of the things. And I think I hopefully pointed them out quite a lot. So, still very good track. This was Klauwland. Next up we have Rebirth with Phenomenal. We've heard this track a couple of times already, but now obviously more progress has been made, so we'll listen to it again and we'll see what he has been up with, or what he has been up to, I guess. Very strange volume dip there. I do remember you having issues with volume dips before, so I'm wondering if you fixed that. Seem to be running some kind of plugin in demo mode. As an intro, I'm not really a fan of it. I would like to start with more of a pad kind of thing, something a little bit slower, and then transition into an acid line like this. More like a Captain Hook style, I would start maybe. Because you have this really cool modulated sound in here. Very loud crash there. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that. Here what you're missing for the kick and bass is a little bit of that announcement. You do have the crashes in there, but it would be nice to have more of a build-up kind of feeling to it, and then some kind of drum fill before it that shows off that the kick and bass is about to happen. You can again hear very loud on the effects, and also the placement of the effects is a little bit questionable. Like, it doesn't really make sense for that impact to be there. It also just suddenly stops at after 8 beats. Acid line sounds like a preset even with the MIDI. I think I've heard it before. It's probably because it has been played on this stream quite a bit already. Like, he submitted this track quite a few times already. Thank you for the feedback, you're welcome. I'm not sure I can entirely follow what the musical idea is in the last few bits, I would say, of the track. Even now we have like two melodies playing through each other. And it becomes completely glitched up here, and it makes very little sense because we couldn't hear how the melody was previously. This should be the break, this melody, like it is right now. And then you can go into the first section with a glitch like that. And then you move into new elements after that section. That is what I would do in terms of arrangement here. Because now you're trying to overuse this chord element here. Also, your effects are very loud and they stop abruptly. They stop abruptly, I should say. Sounds a little bit strange. I will also point out a few of positive things because I have been a little bit negative in this track also. I do really like your overall spectrum balance. The overall mix can be a little bit better in terms of the volume, but the spectrum is very well done. I'm also quite a fan of your drums that you have, apart from the snare, which is hard to hear. Kick and bass also sounds nice. The bass line is maybe a little bit too open. The modulation on the filter could close a little bit faster and a little bit lower on its sustain also. Kick does feel a little bit heavy in terms of design. A little bit high up as well. Could be a bit lower for the key of the bass line. But it's definitely a start of an idea. It does need a lot of work though. Yeah, you can hear how it just randomly cuts off that effect. You're also overusing it quite a lot, that effect. It's constantly the same kind of splash. After a while you get bored of that. And that splash really loses its power because it just constantly happens. Is it bad if you use the preset though? Absolutely not. That's what they're meant for. To get your musical idea out faster. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether people dance to a preset or to a sound that you designed yourself. Okay. Next up, we have Nin XZ with the track Gong. Early work in progress. Second part is up for debate. Something wrong with kick or bassline. let's have a listen. By the way, that last track that we heard was Rebirth with Phenomenal. Nice kick and bass, nice and clean. I like the tone of it. Although I would suggest slightly closing the filter on the bassline. What you can also do is filter out the bassline at around like 7k-ish, so that you have more space for the kick, because now the kick transient and the bass transient sound exactly the same in the high frequencies, and usually you want your kick to be a little bit more prominent in the high frequencies. And I would suggest doing that by lowering the prominence of the bassline a little bit. So at 7k-ish, you just have a low pass there. It just rolls off the top a little bit and gives your kick more space. Also, what you can consider is a little bit of stereo widening on the higher frequencies of the bassline, so 250 Hz and above. Strange feeling that the drums stop earlier there than the rest of the kick and the bass. You should probably filter out the drums in the same manner that you do the kick and bass, or low pass them over time, but also stop them at the same place. That usually sounds best. Sound design is really good in this one. I really like it. It feels like the snare is coming through a lot more in this part. That kind of talky snare with this part, I guess. I would love it if in the whole section it came out a lot more. In this part maybe as well. Because it's nice, tonal, unique kind of snare to it. Kick-wise, I would say it could use a little bit more punch, around the, I would say, 200 Hz region, 250 Hz region, something like that. And it could also have a little bit of a stronger transient around 4K. Just EQ those 2 points a little bit, and I think that would bring out the strength of the kick a little bit more. Because it doesn't feel attacky enough to me. Again, that part of the issue is the bassline having the same kind of prominence in the high frequencies as the kick as well. That's one of the reasons why it doesn't stand out. I agree, Ambrosia, and I think that that's both an issue with the kick not being powerful enough, as I think that one is a little bit lacking, as I said. And the other thing is that it isn't mastered yet, so it doesn't really have that glue that puts everything together. and makes it work. I can definitely tell that the mix in terms of the high frequency balance and how all of the elements are sitting in there are okay. But there's just some issues with individual elements, and then it lacks the main final gluing that you're supposed to do on it. I do really like this snare idea. I wish you did a little bit more with it. Maybe some reverse versions of it as well, and then some rhythms. Tack, 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 tack. Something like that, right? To be a little bit more playful with it, so that it adds a little bit of extra groove, other than just the standard every other beat. Because this track does indeed need a little bit of life in there. And something like that is a good way to add something unique to the track. Another thing in general I would say is that I'm missing that unique kind of element. You know, the fill that makes way for this crazy vocal sample and that then goes into the next section of the drop. Something like that is missing. Something that's really unique to the track. Or maybe that one prominent lead that you've never heard before and does something completely new. Now that's a little bit harder to make. But usually something like real world instruments or vocals or stuff like that is a really easy way to make your tracks a little bit more unique. But overall, I would say very nice. Well done with the production. Sounds very good. So that was Nin XZ. For anybody who wants to follow their work, you can find their link over here. And we'll be moving on to Ibex, Tribal Society. And this is still a demo. So I assume it still needs proper mixing and mastering.
Modern society allows the individual to be independent from the group, which is in some ways a great liberation. In other ways, it can lead to
I would say that the synth is maybe a little bit too much fighting with the vocal. So filter out the synth at around like 1K. Anything above that, you filter that out so that the vocal has some more space.
In this society, as modernity goes up in this society, the suicide rate goes up, the depression rate goes up, schizophrenia goes up in certain environments.
Because now there's a lot of stuff happening on top of the vocal. It's hard to understand what the vocal is actually saying.
That's what we are designed for.
This sound, you should have that probably in the intro, the wee thing. You have that in the intro and then you slow it down once the vocal really starts going. Kick and bass kind of comes out of nowhere. I would like a little bit of an announcement to it, but I do like the groove that you have going on. I like the vibe that you have going on. A few more one-shots would be nice. And I think the sub bass is a little bit too loud here. Take off a few dB of it, so that it falls more in line with the rest of the track in terms of balance. You can see right now the balance is kind of going like this, and then it just goes boom up until here. That doesn't really make sense to me. It sounds a little bit too strong there. mind the kick and bass too much in terms of its distortion that he has going on there. It's a little bit more of a progressive idea, I guess, but it does really work well with the elements that are in the track, I think. With the vocal stuff and the melodic acid lines kind of coming in here as well. The slow progression that this track has. I do feel like I'm getting a little bit lost in the structure here, which is definitely not the feeling that you want to give to your listener. It usually comes from elements kind of starting to play and stopping to play at random parts in time. Very well done on the sound design though. I do really like what you're doing with all of the glitchy stuff here. A little bit more stereo play on some of the main elements would be nice. Like some stereo width on some of them, because some of them feel very mono. And you can have some very mono, but not all of them. That's a little bit too boring. So play with the stereo fields a little bit better. Sounds like dubstep combined with psytrance. I do really like the feeling of this though. Very glitchy, very unique kind of style actually. At this point the melody is becoming boring, so here it should probably change into some new elements. Here again, you hear what you're doing is you're playing different things with the same element, trying to make it different things, but you can clearly hear that the sound design is always the same. So the idea always feels like the same to us, like an evolution of the idea. And which that can sometimes work, having that for 1 or 2 sections after each other. If you're doing it like this, where it's like 1.5 minutes of the same idea just over and over again, and it's a fairly repetitive idea as well, it becomes very boring to listen to. And then in this case you also don't have any one-shots on top of it, so it felt very, very repetitive. Final thing I'll say is your bass line is a little bit too loud. The kick should be the loudest element and your bass line is definitely overpowering that.
There was also a lot of young people, particularly white men, but young women too, who basically absconded across the frontier into tribal society, and they fled like society has been frankly pointed out. Lots of calling.
Strange final bass part over there. I don't know if you want that. You probably want to remove that. Overall, I like the uniqueness of the idea, but it definitely needs some work. It gets repetitive at times. It needs some mixing adjustments. And I think just looking at the arrangement is a good idea here. Especially the intro felt very confusing and some parts felt, as I said, very repetitive. But overall, very nice track by Ibex, Tribal Society. Very cool artwork as well. Looks very nice. And then after that, we have the last track already in the queue. Feedback stream is going to be short if you guys don't submit anymore, because we've already arrived here at Dharma Das with Lobotomy. So keep submitting. I think maybe after this track I'll do the break. I am going to try to do 2 breaks today, so that I can play you 2 tracks that are going to be coming out on the label very soon. 2 tracks of mine. But for now, let's listen to Lobotomy. This empty section should have made it appear earlier in the track. I do think, yeah, there could be some points where you could be a little bit more empty in that last track. You're welcome, Ebex. Funny panning stuff happening here. I like it. I feel like we're going to get some crazy high tech in a little bit. I wonder how you're going to transition into that, because that's a little bit of a rough transition in my opinion. What you could do is have that kick transition a bar earlier, and then do wait, what? Why is there a build in the middle randomly when the idea doesn't change? Anyway, you could do a bar earlier, that kick transition that you have, and then do a drum fill in the last bar, so that you announce the rhythm of the track, because now it felt like the rhythm could be all over the place and it was very unexpected. You do have some fills, but then you don't change your main elements. You continue on with the same main elements. You should probably change different sequences out then. Also, kick and bass definitely needs to be cleaned up, needs to be resampled.
From loneliness. Wait.
Wait, is this faster now? I feel like there's something... I guess it's the drums that are currently added here. But even now that the drums are added, which are added in a completely strange way actually, because they get added right after the breakdown. You're also panning them left to right, which I wouldn't do. If you were to pan something, do it with the vocals and then have a ping pong delay on them so that the delay gets more in the background. Because now it's completely mono and the delay is struggling with the main vocal, what it's saying. You can also low pass your delay feedback loop a little bit. We still hear the same atmospheres from the very beginning, I think. It's again the thing that I talked about before, with each section should have its own unique elements in most cases, or elements if you're going for something like one-shots or multiple sequences or something like that. But usually you have one strong idea that is kind of central to the drop in terms of your synths, and then there's a few supporting elements that are mixed a little bit quieter, a bit more in the background. And then every time you switch section, when you have a fill after 16 bars or something like that, or in some cases even 8 bars, you'll have a different unique element, but you can keep some of the supporting elements the same. So a supporting element can go for 3-4 sections even, because it's more in the background and you never really notice it. It's just there to add the extra detail. It's just that the main element right now is, I guess, missing in this part, because we do have those atmospheres that have been playing for the whole track. But there's nothing that takes your attention away from it, so you really start to notice that they're playing and it becomes boring after a while. Like, this would have been a great place to reintroduce them after they went away in the second section of the drop, I would say.
Make contact through language or music or some kind of sound. Well, now as part of the Toronto Science Festival, some people have a chance to send their own message into deep space.
Here with those vocal effects, you can make that vocal a bit more stereo so that it stands out again as well. This sequence that is playing right now is way too loud. You can see it destroying the waveform. Very strange things happening here. It's really hard to follow what this track is actually doing and how its structure works. It feels a little bit too chaotic. Hard to follow what's going on here. Another thing that I'm hearing is that the drums are very quietly mixed. There's no spike here in the higher frequencies where the drums are supposed to take presence. This feels like almost random tweaking of the filters. It feels all random. Like there's no structure to it. Even the kick and bass fills don't really seem to make sense. And the same would be true for the modulation on the sequence actually. Like elements randomly start and stop to play. Do you know what I mean? Too many stops, yeah. The sound design is very cool though. I do really like what you have going on. I did say, as I said before, like the main element is kind of missing. But this as a support element, an intro element, an outro element, and in parts where the track has a little bit less going on, is a very nice element. But yeah, this was Lobotomy by Dharmadas, as you guys can see. Very good track. There are no new submissions for feedback yet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break. You guys can type !feedback. !feedback like this, and then the bots should come alive and show you where to get feedback, hopefully. Thanks for the feedback, Raul. Take it all into account. Thank you. I hope that you like it. Anyway, I'm going to put on one of my tracks. This is one of the tracks that I'll be releasing in 2 days. It actually needs to play here. Right? Oh. Like this. Aha. So this track will be releasing in 2 days. on the Eclipse label. For those that don't know, I started a label recently with a couple of friends, and in 2 days we will be releasing our first collaborative album full of music, 7 tracks, and this will be one of the tracks. Please make sure you check out Eclipse. I'll get the link real quick. I still have it in my clipboard. You can follow Eclipse here, and you can subscribe to the channel. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be on streaming services, Bandcamp, YouTube, SoundCloud, everywhere you can think of. But for now, please just support the YouTube channel, and I'll be right back once the track has finished playing. Hello? There. And then after that, if you guys have submitted anything, we'll get back into the feedback. Alright, so that is one of the tracks coming out in 2 days on Eclipse, our new label. For those that are just tuning in, we started the label today, or we started the label a while back, but we're launching it today, and in 2 days we're launching our first music. So that's very exciting, and this will be one of the tracks that will be on that label. Anyway, we are still waiting for other people to submit for feedback. If you want to submit a track, please do so now so that we can listen to something. Let me quickly read the chat here. The middle analyzer is the same as Vision X. This middle analyzer is called Signalizer as well, and it's a waterfall display. It essentially tells us frequency over time. So this is the frequency axis, this is the time axis, and then the intensity of the frequency is given like this, with the color spectrum, with the color difference, I should say, probably. I know the hockey stick is the kick and the next 3 peaks are the bass. Yeah. In a more the track is a little bit full, this one. This is a very complex kind of track, so it's a little bit harder to see, I guess, with the kick and bass. But that's essentially how you would read it, yes. So if anybody wants to join, now is the time to do so for the feedback stream. It has been a long time since I haven't had a track to listen to on the feedback stream. Usually I get 20 submissions at the beginning of the stream, and then for the rest of the stream I'm just trying to get through them all as quick as possible. Just trying to grab a drink here. This is the moment where you get tested. Can you be entertaining while there's no content? Because that's what's happening right now. Thanks and hi, by the way. Welcome, Sophist, to the stream. Dharma, I think I already said hello. Glip, welcome. How are you doing? Everybody with that last track was expecting high tech. Was expecting something fast, and then it didn't happen. Felt kind of betrayed. A little bit. Can I join the label? I have 80k monthly listeners on Spotify. There is currently no plan for us to sign other artists. We're just trying to just grow it out for now with the 5 of us, and then we will be looking out for artists, definitely, at some point. But I think we want to keep the process unanimous, in the sense that we all want to agree with the fact that if we sign an artist, that we actually sign them, and not just any person that just joins my chat or something like that, just because they have a certain amount of viewers. We want to focus on obviously growing good music and growing good artists and building a roster, not just on the quality of one song, but also knowing that they can, every once in a while just release a track. I don't think we'll ever get to the point where we're going to have a demo application or something like that, or even this feedback stream turning into a demo review for the label. So don't expect that to happen anytime soon. Just because you submit something in here does mean it will mean that obviously we will have an eye on you, because if you never submit anything, then we won't know your music. But we're going to get it from basically anywhere. They might feel more pressure since you launched the label. Might be that people are holding off with their records to say it okay, I'm going to wait until it's mastered and ready completely so that he can listen to it for his label. In that way, I want to kind of squander your expectations. As I said, this is not going to be the kind of stream where I'm just going to be sitting here listening for potential artists to sign. Because as I said, we want it to probably be a more unanimous process. Not just me saying okay, this is the people that I found during this feedback stream, let's send them all a message, something like that. You know what I mean? I hope that this doesn't turn into that for some people. One of the things I should probably say is that the label is a very collaborative effort. So even if we were to sign you, we would expect you to work with us. It's not okay, you give us the track and then we'll make sure that you get cover art, we'll make sure that you'll get distributed everywhere. We'll just put you on our YouTube and you don't have to do any work for it. It is a collaborative idea and a collaborative group, and everybody is putting in the work. You know what I mean? Hello and congratulations on the label launch. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. Do you have a different SoundCloud ID for the label? Yes, there's a SoundCloud page available as well. I'll first link the YouTube page, and then I'll see if I can quickly find the SoundCloud as well. Right here for you. So there is also a SoundCloud page available for the label. As you can see, there are some private tracks on there already. These are scheduled to go up later. But you can follow the label there, and then in 2 days, when the music comes out, it will all go live, including on SoundCloud, as well as on YouTube, Bandcamp, streaming services everywhere. And especially for the streaming services, we do hope that a lot of people, you know, add them to the playlist and start listening to the music regularly, because that is the biggest way that you can grow a project like this. Is to get some fans out there that will return for every post that you have, for every piece of music that you put out. Which, by the way, is completely the plan. We delayed this project long enough that we all have new music already in the works that we're working on. So don't expect this to be like one release and then you don't hear from us in 7-8 months, something like that, and then another release. Obviously, we're going to be releasing a lot more stuff in the future as well. And then, as I said, at some point we will probably be looking for other artists to include on the label so that we get even more talent on there. And the more and more it grows, the more it will be worth doing that. Okay, we do have another track for the feedback. For those that don't know, this is the feedback stream, so you can submit your track right here in the Discord. Feedback on stream. Just join the Discord server, scroll all the way down to here, and then click on feedback on stream. And there you can submit your track right here. Do read this before posting. This is just some copyright information so that you don't copyright claim me. And yeah, that's going to be it. Next up, we have Call Me Amir with What. Just made this in like 30 minutes. Let's see. I like the piano patch. You are a little bit too stereo with the piano. Like you can see it's starting to cancel out here. It sounds very, very white. Sounds very emotional, I like it. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of how mono the drum loop is there. Now it gets a little bit better with the second layer on top of it. Not really a fan of the bass line. It sounds too clicky to me. You should also clean up your kick here. I do like the bass line having shorter notes like that. That does sound nice. But your bass line should probably be filtered out at around 6-7K so that it doesn't have that floppy clicky nature to it. Should probably also do some stereo width processing on it so that it has a nicer stereo field. As I say, I like to stereo whine everything above like 200 to 250 Hertz on my bass line, just a little bit. It's just like an extra little effect that you can put on top of it. So I can let you hear the difference quickly, since there's no more tracks in the feedback queue. Let me quickly get a kick from my drum pack here, for example. We'll play at 145 and we'll get a nice G sharp. Something like that. Nice. Okay. Just duplicate it over. It should already be synchronized, and it is. And then I'll quickly make a bass line just from a serum patch. This is from my Psychedelic Essentials Volume 3 pack. I'm just going to go into Subshifter. This is the standard patch that I use for my bass lines. And I just want to quickly do this so that I can let you hear the difference between having the stereo widener on there and not having it. So we're in G sharp, go down 3 octaves, and then we'll lower this velocity. Sounds a little bit crap right now, the kick and bass. I know, but we'll just make a few tweaks here. Something like that. I'll do my little bit of EQing. I just kind of also want to show you how quickly I make kick and bass normally. Something like that, maybe. We'll add a little bit of stereo widener on top. I usually go for M stereo spread, and I'll up the bands. I'll up the frequency to around 200, maybe something like this. So something like this versus this. Just gives it a nicer overall texture, do you know? You know what I mean? So that's what I would do on that bass line. Just a little bit of stereo width like that. There's other free tools available as well. I really like M stereo spread. You can choose whatever you want. I did the shootout between a couple of different ones as well on my YouTube channel a while back. But there's different ways that you can test them and make sure that they actually do what you want them to do. And obviously one of the criteria is that you're able to high pass the effect so that it doesn't affect your lower frequencies too much. Old track already got feedback. If you want to play it again, okay. We can listen to it again. This is a track by Sonic Flux called Super Funky Mario. This track right over here. What I would do is have the kick and bass be a little bit quieter before the drop, so that when the drop hits, it has a little bit more impact. Usually I do like 3 to 5 decibels lower in breaks and intros like that. Kick and bass obviously needs cleaning as well. We can see that in the transients here and here. I like your use of the Mario sounds. What I don't like is how dead your drums sound, your top drums. So the hat and the snare. So a little bit of reverb, a little bit of stereo wave on top of that. Should help a lot. Snare a bit too loud. I could see that, yeah. It's also in your face because it's completely mono, I think. What's the yellow stripes after the kick? I don't know what you mean. This part over here? Or this over here? So this is the subtail of the kick. This is the sub-bass of the bass line. Here, this is the whole bass line over here. Including these spikes over here. And this spike is coming from the bass line. And the kick is right over here. One thing you need to do is low pass your kick at around 10k. So that it doesn't have that very high annoying click up there. And the drums can actually sit in there. That gives you a little bit more energy to work with from the drums. Overall, the synth work that you're doing isn't really exciting me here. I think overall there's a little bit too much delay and reverb going on as well. That's one of the things that can make your synth very boring, is too much delay in particular. Either too long feedback or too much mix overall. Something you have to really look out for, especially on stuff like melodic elements where you can get in the way of your own melody. It becomes hard to hear what the melody is doing and it becomes like just kind of a mess of sound. That becomes boring very quickly. And even with the modulations here, it might sometimes be hard to hear what is actually happening because of all of the delay tails. Obviously you need to use delay in psytrance, but you can overuse it. Here the drums kind of just turn on in a random spot. I would have hoped you did some kind of fill for them, because it still sounds like the synths are rising. Yeah, this would be the spot where I would turn on the drums and go back into full energy, not earlier. This sounds much more like a high energy part of the track. So you can reflect that in the drums. I do like your bass melody, nice and groovy. There's indeed many things to fix, but I do think that the idea is very, very cool. So definitely something that you should go back and fix if you have the chance. At this point, the Mario sounds should return, to be honest, to remind us again of the theme of the track, because it has been a while. That's another thing that you could do. You could have a second drop structure, which has a little bit of a unique drop, and there you focus again more on the Nintendo sounds, I guess. Because we've heard them in the beginning, and from that point onwards, it's all been crazy synths and crazy sound design, and it becomes very much the same. Right? So you have this unique element in the track. You should make use of it in the whole track, actually. But overall, very nice idea. I like it. There's 4 yellow stripes, 1 under the kick and 3 in between the kick and the bass also. I'll play a kick and bass for you so that you can hear what it sounds like in a little bit. I'll play this one here so that it shows up on the analyzer as well. Overall, very cool track. I really like it. Sounds very nice. So this was Super Funky Mario by Sonic Flux. Okay. So I should have a kick and bass in here, right? Yeah. It's looped, nice. This is clean. It is cleaned up, yeah. Because obviously with my patch, obviously it's not the best kick and bass, but you can see here we have the kick. And here we have the bass notes, right? So the individual spikes for the bass. And then all of these are the individual harmonics of the bass line. All of these are the individual harmonics of this bass line. So you have these lines which just show individual harmonics in here. Because it is not just one frequency that is playing, for example, with the kick. It is. You can see it's one stripe going all the way down here. And then here the bass line kind of gets in the way of that. Because the bass line is playing over here. And here you can see what kind of pattern that would also play over here. But obviously the kick is also playing, so that destroys it a little bit. You can see it's a little bit destroyed. I didn't phase line this. I didn't do any of that stuff that I would normally need to do for this bass line to work. But that's how you read a graph like this. Thank you. You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed the feedback. I'm gonna do another round of promotion because we have to. We're at 20 subscribers now. By the end of the stream, I would like this to be 50, if we can get there. Would be nice. Also, let's see if we get some followers here on the SoundCloud for the label. For those that don't know, for those that are just joining the stream, I recently started the label. We've been working on this for the last 6 months. And today we finally launched it. It's Mindbee, Mortec, me, Subject Ultra, and Lunarium. There's a whole announcement video that I started the stream with as well. So if you want to watch that back. But yeah, I could use all of your support to help make this label as big as it can be. I'm hoping for some more tracks to do feedback on as well. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be sitting here. You were at 16 when you joined. Nice. It is still growing, so that's nice to see. After the stream, one of the things I'll do is I'll put the links to my label in the rotation for the Stream Elements bot. The one that says this stuff, right? That promotes my masterclass and higher up the donation to the stream and all that kind of stuff. Can I? Thank you. Yeah. My Discord community. My products, my Patreon, I think, or yeah, my old album here. I say old, but it's my most recent album. I'll put Eclipse in there so that it becomes one of the links of these, and you can just quickly go to it from the stream. To be honest, I don't know what to do if I do not get another few tracks to listen to. This is very unusual that there's so little people submitting today. Because I've been getting so used to always just having a couple of tracks ready to listen to, which was kind of the norm the last, I would say, half a year that I've been doing this now, the feedback stream. I was even worrying, like, if I grow too much, will I at some point need to restrict the queue times to just like the first hour of the stream or something like that, to make sure that there aren't too many tracks and that I can join, or I can get through everything. Opvallend. Yeah, it is very strange that it's happening now. We did have quite a few tracks today, though. King Thin, this one over here. There were a lot of demos, so there were a lot of shorter tracks as well. Not too many. As I said, of course, this is nowhere near the normal numbers that we normally get during a feedback stream. But that's okay. Sometimes you just have a downtime or something like that, I guess. Even the viewer numbers today haven't been the biggest. To be honest, when it comes to YouTube and all of that stuff, it is true what they say that in January, usually you're at the lowest, I guess, viewership. And I can kind of see that happening, but it was a little bit the opposite way around for me than it's normally supposed to happen for other YouTubers. As in, for me, during the holidays, my views went down, even though I continued to post and continued to post shorts as well. So for a strange reason, during the holidays, especially, obviously there were a few dates that you could just see. The 1st of January, the 25th, because everybody's eating out with family, so nobody's watching YouTube at that point. But even the other days, I would have expected some more stuff or some more views. And now that it's January, it's going back up again. Normally, the recommendation is that because everybody is free during the holidays and everybody's watching YouTube, you should focus on YouTube very much for the last few weeks of the year. And then in January, it should be a downtime. But for me, it's the opposite. Now my views are higher than it were in the holidays. Should I? Could I? Yes, you should. Very much. Also, Phil, thank you for sending a track in. I am too shy. Doesn't matter. We're not here to roast your track. We're here to give constructive criticism. So it's you can just use this as a tool. Think of it like that. It's not about already publishing your music, because, as we say, the point of the feedback is that you can improve things. And it's never not brave or a good idea to see how you can improve things. I don't know, I have a hard time convincing people sometimes to do that kind of stuff, to submit their music, but I do think that it's a good idea to submit your music. Maybe I should move my track from the other channel, but it will be so bad. It doesn't matter. Just woke up, it's 14:37. Do you wake up at that hour? Even though I work for myself and I could technically get up at whatever time I want, I do like to get up early in the morning. I say early in the morning, it's not super early, but like I would rather be awake at 8 than at 10. The only difficulty is that my sleeping schedule is constantly nudging back, right? Because every time I have something that I need to quickly finish or something like that, and I do it at night, I tend to spend a little bit too much time on whatever I'm doing. So it becomes 1, and then it becomes 2, and then I realize, oh, I should really get to bed, but I need to do this, and this, and then I'm really finished. So it turns into 3 o'clock, and then I've finally finished with the things that I actually wanted to do. And now I've moved my sleep schedule back a couple of hours. And recovering from that is much harder than doing that. So you're constantly moving back a little bit with your sleep schedule. There might be a few technical issues with the Discord chat. That's strange. For me, Discord has worked fine the whole day today. I've obviously been chatting a lot on Discord with the release of the label. So there's a lot of things that we're arranging still internally with the 5 of us. So we've been on Discord the whole morning. And even yesterday evening for a long portion of time. And there were never any issues I felt with the chat. But maybe certain regions or certain servers have issues. Exclamation feedback. This should bring up the bot, hopefully, with its reply. There we go. It gives you the link to the Discord. You join the Discord and then you scroll down over here. You can go to feedback on stream. What I should also do is post our label in the announcements here so that I can show that link as well. Give me 2 seconds. I can't access the Discord. That's strange. There's no policy in place that should prevent you from entering, and there's people entering right now, as you can see, so I don't know what the issue would be. Sorry, I just need to set this up. YouTube, SoundCloud, Bandcamp. I just want to have all of the links in there. So that whenever somebody asks where to find the label, I can just link it to them there. So I'm just quickly filling in these links. Instagram. We will have our channel here. And then our SoundCloud page. We have a Bandcamp page as well somewhere, which I need to find. We have a TikTok, which is autoplay. Can I stop that? That's very annoying. could not accept invite. Very strange. You say, just wanted to let you know in case that could contribute to the quietness. We enjoyed the stream. Thanks, man. You're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed. It's very strange that you guys cannot enter the Discord. I do still, as I said, see people entering right now as of this moment. Right, so a couple of minutes ago, 2 people entered. So I don't know why that would be the case. I'm just quickly finishing off this message here. There's 2 links that I need to find, and then I can see if I can investigate that as well. Copy link. Let me quickly check this one. There we are. Our Bandcamp page, and then finally I need to find the Facebook page, which is actually under my other profile. I have 2 Chrome profiles, one for my personal stuff and then now one for the label. And only the Facebook doesn't work under the label profile. It needs to be on my own profile, I guess. I'll try to investigate why it's happening, why you guys cannot join. I do have some people already submitting again. But there's nothing that should disallow you from joining. Let's try this link over here quickly. It should be the same link, but with a bit.ly in between. Maybe that doesn't change anything, I don't know. And by the way, for everybody in the Discord, now you can look right here to Eclipse. And you can find all of the links of all of the different places where we are. And yeah, you can just follow us wherever you want. And we will soon start promoting the music, and the music will soon be out. Wait, I still needed that. Does that fix the issue, the new link? I guess in the meantime... Oh, I see some more people joining. Yeah, nice. I guess in the meantime, we will go back to Cosmo Sheesh here with second Cosmo Rave.mp3. This is just the Discord message, so I cannot actually show you the link. It's just this. But that's what we will be listening to for now. Not a fan of the kick sound, but I like the idea that you're going for with the kick and bass here. Kick sounds too plasticky for me, too bounceable. One of the things you can do is, as I said many times before, low pass filter the kick at 10k. What you also need a little bit in your track is some stereo with some stereo interest. So stereoizing the kick and bass like I showed before with this plugin over here, or any other plugin that allows you to do that effectively, you should consider doing that. Now it worked, nice. I think my issue was because I was not logged in. Yeah, that would be a requirement to enter a Discord server. But normally it should just send you to a page where you can log in, right? I'm not sure if the saw wave is supposed to be open like this or if it's supposed to have a plug to it, but I would consider adding a plug to it if you want my opinion here. Because right now it sounds very strange there. It doesn't have that plug to it. It still stays open, as you can see in the frequency spectrum. There's no individual click. It doesn't go down far enough. You should have this click and then it's carved in. You shouldn't have all of this stuff up here. Sorry, I was trying to listen to the fill. Snare kind of comes out of nowhere. You can low pass filter that in over time. I like this kick a lot more. I don't know why you would have two kicks though. This gives it a bit more of a techno feeling. And this also makes the bassline have a little bit more sense. There's some weird stuff happening with very low frequencies sometimes. It seems this is changing all the time, the kick. I'm not sure I'm actually making psytrance. It isn't really psytrance, it's more towards the techno side of things, I would say. I feel like this groove is a lot more techno than it was psytrance. But I do really like it. I like the idea, and I would love to hear where it goes. Next up, okay, so that was Cosmo Sheesh with second Cosmo Rave. And next up we have Dual Synth by apparently Sideup, also known as Rob. For everybody else, make sure you scroll down to feedback on stream and then you submit here if you want to submit to the stream. Exclamation feed point if you're not already in the Discord. Bassline is a little bit loud. The drums don't really come through, especially the sub bass of the kick doesn't have any space whatsoever. I do like the vibe of this track. Some very cool sound design going on, some very nice use of real world instruments as well. My only complaint is really the lack of kick, because I still believe the kick should be more important than the bass line, so... it should probably give way for the kick a lot more. And the kick itself should be louder, especially in those lower frequency regions, so that it has some actual punch coming through. The gliding bass note was indeed very nice. The overall vibe, I do really like it, as I said. So sound designer, thanks to you. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the masterclass then. Right? Because I don't remember it being a private lesson. I assume that you mean the masterclass then. Because I also do private lessons. But, did we do a private lesson? I don't think we did. I don't remember any person named Rob. I said before that his name was Sideup, but that's not it. I sent you 2 to listen to. I don't see them here. I only see Rob and Acid over here in the feedback on stream channel. I don't know where else it is. Or is this you, Acid? It was one during COVID some years ago. Aha! Well then it's, yeah. Then of course I wouldn't remember, because if it has been a couple of years ago. Vocal could stand out a little bit more in that spot. It just kind of comes through, but it doesn't convince you yet. It should be louder there because it's a break as well. Now I see you typing Phil. Overall, very lovely vibe. I like how you're changing over time. Those vocals really come in at the right point. There's just some small issues to fix in terms of details. Mainly the loudness of the bass in here, of the sub bass. and the kick not coming through enough. Very nice. I like it. Next up, we have 2 tracks from Acid. We have Be With The Light, 140 BPM, A minor, and then also Hall of Illusions, which is a new one he is working on, also A minor, 140 BPM. This was the first one that I'm going to play is Be With The Light, and that will be the one that he also posted last week, I think, which he's considering for release. Nice, clear vocals. I like it. Like the sub bass or the bass line isn't dynamic enough. It needs a little bit more dynamics towards the end so that the transient stands out more and the sustain a little bit less. It feels very, very flat. You can see it in the waveform as well. Like as this is almost too flat. I would also say that you can consider turning your bass line down like 2 dB in the mix, because you still want the kick to be the most important part of the track. Not really a fan of your snare here. It sounds like it still has a fundamental. Too much of a fundamental, I would say. I personally have very little to no fundamental frequency left in my snares. It's just the noise component most of the time. Bass is -12 and kick is -10 now. I did fix that harmonic issue. I know I think it's still a little bit too much, the volume of the bass line, because it's very flat, so that turns up the perceived loudness, right? So the peak loudness is different than the received loudness here. You can also see the difference in loudness between your main bass stab and your accents. It should probably be closer to the accents than the main bass stab is right now in terms of level. Bass feels louder than the kick perceived. Yes, I agree with that. part of that volume difference is being undone in the master limiter, right? When you're squashing it into the master limiter, which is in essence the goal of mastering. It does reduce that volume balance again, or the volume difference, I should say.
Alien ritual.
Snare jumps out too much. Yeah, I agree. I think it has to do with the fact that it still has a fundamental. At this point, when the build-up is happening, I would also high pass those orchestral things so that they also don't have any lower frequencies anymore. Vocals a little bit hard to understand. I would remove the sequence at that point and then bring out the higher frequencies of that vocal a little bit more. Where do you guys usually cut your snare's frequencies? I'll remove usually the fundamental of it. So that's the lower spike that you'll see in the snare. In this case it shows up right here. There seems to be a little bump every time the snare plays. You want to remove that. Let's see if we can spot it here. Probably not. Snare will play here and here. Yeah, so this little bump there, that's the fundamental of your snare. I would remove that, maybe even up until here, so that you just get the noise component. I thought it was asterisk streaming. No, it is unfortunately just me. You have to deal with me. But the track was made by Acid25, right here in the Discord. This is Be With the Light. And the next track that we're going to listen to is also from him. This is called Hall of Illusions, A minor, 140 BPM. Let's see. I do have the same distinct lack of hair on top of my head, so it's an easy mistake to make. Confusing me with asterisks. So fully understandable, is all I'm saying. I like this bass line already a lot more, although it could use some stereo with. And I can hear that the kick is the exact same. At least it has the same transient to it. But I even think it's the same kick. Your kick has this fairly strange transient. I shouldn't say strange because it's not wrong, but it's fairly unique in the higher frequencies, and there's a kind of like a talk to it. I like my hair like. Yes, exactly.
Mystical, magical.
It's Vsauce. At least I think that's the Vsauce, the vocal. It's Michael. Yeah, the snare is very prominent still in the lower frequencies or the lower mids. I personally am not a fan of that. I would also make it a bit more stereo. Usually I add a little bit of reverb to my snare. Just like a very small room reverb. Not even one that would come into here necessarily. It wouldn't even necessarily extend it too much, but just put it in a room, right? Mainly focusing on the early reflections with the reverb. That sound is too loud. There's still some volume balancing to do here.
Living creature.
I like this part though. The snare itself is quieter, I think, Greedo, but the fundamental of the snare is still very prominent. Why can't you send links in the Discord? In here? You can send links. I didn't change any of the permissions. People are still sending links. Although the last few people are indeed sending audio files. But both is okay. Really cool track though. I like it. Sounds nice. In chat here you cannot send links, no. YouTube won't allow that. The mix bus is indeed the part where your whole mix kind of comes together for the first time. So it is where you can have a lot of interplay between elements. If you're looking to compress certain or everything kind of together, to glue it together, you would have a compressor on your mix bus to how would I describe it best? To basically have to basically have all of the signals react to the loudest part of the signal. So they kind of harmoniously are compressed together. So if there's a very loud kick happening and there's that little bit of glue compression on there, that kick will trigger slight compression in the other channels and other sounds as well, by nature of being already summed together in the mix bus. So all of the sounds together react in the same way to the kick being compressed. And that gives that unifying effect. And that's what you hear about the mix bus. It allows you to do that kind of processing that you wouldn't be able to do any other way, because you have to basically have everything be summed together in order to get an effect like that. So next up, so this was Hall of Illusions. I should get back now, right? Yeah. I should hopefully be back. I just dropped connection for a little bit. You're welcome, Asset. Hopefully you can see this again. You're welcome for the feedback. Stream jamming on my end. It should be better again, hopefully. I just had a connection issue, yeah. Lace, Tari, how are you doing? Welcome. Yes, you're back. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to get into BUN with Hey DJ now. Hopefully it loads, because this one was also buffering a little bit. Yeah, now it seems to be okay. Is this copyrighted? Is this a remix? This vocal? I do need to know before I can play it on stream, because if it is copyrighted, then I cannot play it. We'll leave it on hold for now. If you're still watching, Bun, please tell me if there's any copyright issues or not. I know there's a little bit of a delay to the stream. But if the track does have copyright issues, then let me know. Because then I cannot listen to it. He is typing in the chat, in the Discord chat, so we'll see what he has to say. At least he was typing a little while ago. Splice vocals are okay, by the way. Yeah, but there's still the possibility of getting copyright strikes. He said, rap in the stream chat. I do not see any reply here. It is up to Ori SoundCloud for mixes. So if it is for remixes, then unfortunately I cannot play it. I'm not willing to run that risk. I'm protective of my channel, and I already have one strike for some recent thing I played on stream. So I'm not going to do that. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. But I have to take care of my channel, obviously. We have Rob with another 2 tracks, another 3 tracks actually. We have Happy, and then we have Phil Lil as well. We'll start with another one from Rob. This is called Dub Project with a Y, I guess. Dub Project EP. That's here. I do have 3 monitors, Cosmo. One is 27 inch and 2 are 23 inch. YouTube's so trash with that stuff. YouTube does what it has to do. I feel like this is going to have the same bass volume issue because the bass is already very, very loud. You could definitely turn down the bass by like 6 dB or something like that. Yeah, the kick doesn't have nearly enough volume to come through. You can see the sidechaining it is doing on the bassline in this case. Let's see if we can pause it when an actual kick is. I'm trying to find the kick drum, but it's hard. Here. So this is the kick, this is the bass. The kick should be louder than the bass, so you can see the issue that we're having here. And it's also morphing into the bassline from behind here, so you have some phase issues. In this one, the sub bass is kind of overpowering the rest of the mix. I was gonna say like the mix is good, but that sub bass is too powerful. Other than that, I do think that the mix is too good, but it's hard to focus on that with the bassline being this loud. The bassline is so loud that even the higher harmonics are fighting for space with elements like the plugs in here. Here the vocal becomes super loud, way too loud. Yeah, here you're getting issues that the kick doesn't have a lot of punch because the bassline is so loud. I don't even know why this part has a sub bass. I wouldn't put the sub bass in here. You're having major clipping issues already right before the drop, with the vocal being so loud. And you're removing a lot of the energy that you would normally get from the sub bass when it comes back in the drop. With the sub bass already being there, you don't get that impact. Song is up on my YouTube channel with music video, no copyright strikes against it. I'm not willing to just run that risk. I already have the strike. If I get 2 more, my channel gets deleted. And I review 30 tracks every week that people could potentially copyright claim. And that happens all the time. I would say the main things to do is turn the bass down by 6-7 dB and turn the vocals down, especially in here when it's so super loud. It just becomes too overpowering, too much. Turn that also down by 6 dB and then the rest of the vocals could be turned down by like 3 dB. And I think that already will give you a lot nicer of a mix. And then you turn up the kick by like 3 dB and that should kind of restore your volume balance. That is currently a little bit lost in this track. And in the same way it was lost in the last track that you sent. Yeah, the snare is a lot louder than the kick as well, yes. Same kind of issue. You can see how overpowering it is in the waveform when that vocal gets that massive delay reverb. It's not that I don't like it, but it just becomes too loud. It becomes too straining on the ears. Very nice idea though. I do really like the musical idea that you have going on. I am going to be taking another quick break and then we'll get to the other few tracks that are still left. There's still a few more tracks left from Phil Lil and Happy, so stick around for that. And another one from Rob as well. But right now I want to put on Universal Mantra. This is my other single that is going to come out in 2 days on Eclipse. And hopefully you guys will enjoy it. There's some really cool things that I'm doing in the break here, which I really like. I like the break of this one. But yeah, make sure for those that are still unaware that you follow us on all of these links down below here. These are all of our different pages. So once the music comes out, you will be notified. It will be posted everywhere that you see right here. But I'll be back in a little bit. Didn't start at the beginning, sorry. Here we are. changes the playback speed for some reason. Hello, Mr. Friendly. Welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoyed that little track there. That will be coming out in 2 days on Eclipse Sound Syndicate, our new label. Again, as I said, you can follow us right here. I would love it if you would all subscribe and follow us on all of these platforms. For now though, we're going to go back into the feedback. Let me stop that from playing. And we were left off right here with this track, 61_CYGNE_2.4.mp3. That was a pretty big mouthful, but okay. Let's have a listen. Again, already starting with quite a loud bass line. Were those flutes and vocals Native American? I don't remember. I wrote that part like a year ago, so I don't know where I got that samples from. Again, very loud bass here. You can see how it just blurts out the waveform. And even in the intro, it shouldn't do it to that extent. You know what I mean? Again, with a bass this loud, you're going to have issues fitting the rest of the track in there. And again, the kick really suffers from that because it loses all of its punch now. Because you have to compare it with such a loud bass line. One thing I don't like either is the snare being completely mono. Should definitely have some stereo excitement going on there, with the rest of the track having such a nice stereo field. I do like the balance of the overall mix though, apart from the bassline, as I said, being so loud and being so sub-heavy. The rest of the mix is actually sitting in there pretty nicely. The only thing I would say is that it feels, again, like there's a little bit too much delay reverb. It does sound like a Blast TV kind of thing. Yeah, Ambrosia. I do agree with that. We will be right back after the break. Overall, I would say that I would like to hear this part without the top drums on it, without the high frequency, like offbeat hat and that kind of stuff. Because that allows you to, again, lower the energy, which is definitely what is happening in the rest of the music, but the drums kind of continue. So I would just leave in the snare here, for example. Because now suddenly you have to go down, as you heard before. You just have to suddenly filter it out. It would be nice if you just slowly build down again. I love the atmosphere that you have going on in here as well. It would be nice to hear it on its own at some point, so I hope that this melody is now building up to something, like to a certain point, and then the melody stops, and then it's just that atmosphere playing for a while, and then it goes back into the kick and bass. That would sound better than going back into this melody that we've heard throughout the whole track, like you're doing now. And then you just continue with the atmosphere and all of the kick, the bass, and the drums and stuff. Add a couple of one-shots and then don't go immediately back into this melody again, because otherwise it gets repetitive. Here again, I wouldn't bring back this melody that you're bringing back now with the slide, because we've heard it throughout the whole track. It doesn't even sound like it's finishing here. It sounds like it's about to go into the last, like, thing, and then it stops. A little bit of a strange choice there towards the end. I think the arrangement could be a little bit better, but overall the sound design is very good, and I think there's a common theme between the tracks that we've heard up until this point from you, in that the bass line is way too loud, and you should probably fix that as well here. It is this track, Greedo, by the way. I just pointed that out. Yes, in general, some more separation would help indeed. But I think a big part of the issue is the bass line taking up so much space. If you remove that bass line, or lower that bass line in volume to the appropriate level, you will hear the rest of the mix come to life just by fixing that one mistake. Right? Next up, we have Sucker Punch by Phil Little. Let's see what we have here. Nice dark starting atmosphere already. A little bit of rumble that you could remove in the lower frequencies here. You don't really need that. Very long delay too on that one sound. Maybe a bit too long. I wouldn't start with the acid sound like this. It sounds really strange, and the impact sound like that. Way too much energy at the start of the track. Way too loud bass line over there. This would be the space where I would want to hear the acid line for the first time. Before that, it should be slow one-shots, that kind of stuff. Because it was very slow in the build-up, and I really like that. It was very slow in the intro, I really like that. And then it suddenly became very high energy, so it feels a bit mismatched. I do like this sound design though. Sounds like a nice drop element there. I don't like this high squeaky thing. that you've got going on right now, this high resonant thing. I'm always working on Sunday. Well, nice to see you here now then. I'm glad I could help you so much. Now that the other elements are playing, this beep should also be off, right? So this element has run its course. It is becoming really boring. It's starting to become really annoying. To be honest, I wasn't a big fan of it right from the start. But now that the other elements are starting to demand more space, it should definitely not be playing anymore. Yeah, like this it's much better. It's much easier to focus on the element that you actually want us to listen to, which is that cool FM synth that you've going on. Overall, I feel like your bass could be a little bit more prominent, your bass line. So just turn up the volume a little bit on it. Also the kick and bass in general. Very wide stereo field on the bass line here. Here as well. You shouldn't stereonize the lower frequencies of your bass, only the mid-range and the higher. Only above like 250 Hz, something like that. Kick and bass should also be resampled. You should probably turn down this note a little bit in volume and turn this one up a little bit so that you get more of a groove to it. The kick itself could make a little bit more sub bass. So I have this wave kind of go like this and then lower. Of course you want to go to silence if you want this bass note to be this loud, but you can also make it longer and then phase line it. That can also work. Check out my ultimate guide to bassline for more information on that. Next up is another track of his, IN_D_2023-12-20_140 BPM.wave. Very long name for a track. I hope that you change that before release. But let's have a listen. There's a little bit of a rough time loading here, sorry. I'll let it buffer for a little bit so that it loads and then we'll play it back. The tonality of the kick and bass already sounds a lot better, in my opinion. The bass line again could be a little bit louder, 2 dB to 3 dB louder. And it again needs to be cleaned up. No stereo on the lower frequencies. I like what you're doing with the hats here. Would like to hear a snare though as well, at some point. Oh. For some reason the Discord download doesn't go as fast as others, so sometimes the playback just stops. As you can see, it's struggling with the internet connection here. For some reason. I wonder if it's going to go up or do I have to unpause it? Now it's going. Very slowly. Yeah, do you hear it's pausing because it's playing in Discord, I guess. Now, I also had some stream connection issues. I wonder why today it's so terrible all of a sudden. Because the last stream I didn't have any issues. No single connection dropped, never anything. And today we've already had like 2 or 3 of them. And now we have the issues with the Discord server not downloading fast enough for it to play back. It is indeed a Discord moment. I'm going to try again to see what happens if I play now that the connection is hopefully a bit more stable. It's still struggling. It's just barely keeping up in front of it. I'm gonna pause again in a little bit. And then immediately my stream also drops in connection. That's very annoying. When it starts to buffer, when it starts to come to the end here, when it cannot download anymore, it also stops immediately the stream connection, I think. Because I immediately see my stream connection drop as well. Maybe that's not correlated. Maybe that's, I don't know, just coincidence now. But I think if I play again, I can just test it one more time. If I play again and it stops pausing, it will again buffer the stream. It doesn't seem to get a lot better now, the connection. Yeah, so now it stops the thing and my connection drops immediately. I think it may have to do with the fact that it's a WAV file, which is 200 megabytes, as opposed to an MP3. You can send it in again as MP3. We haven't had any issues with any of the other tracks, but they're all MP3 as well. Yes, you lose a little bit of quality, but that's worth it for the stream to just work. I will play this one here then, and this one here. And then after that, I'm thinking also of stopping for today. So I'm going to just say queue closed. If you want me to listen to this one, you can still submit it as an MP3 and then I'll listen to it. But for anything other than that, the queue will be closed and I won't accept any more tracks. So I'll play this one here by Rob, the Psytrance one. Synergetic.mp3 and we'll have a listen. Maybe your internet connection is struggling. It is, but the WAV file is definitely more, like, bigger than any of the other files. And when the connection drops, it happens when it has to buffer the WAV file. I know that vocal.
I am going to talk about how quantum biology can save the world. And the
things are kind of half starting at random positions. The vocal doesn't line up with the kick and the bass, rhythm-wise.
Overcrowding, hatred, wars, terrorism.
And then you have the plugs happening, then the vocal starts, then the kick and bass starts. I would start all three at the same moment. Also, the vocal doesn't come through enough because some other elements are taking up that high space here. This. Kick and bass is looking nice, but you definitely need to resample, and then you should also get rid of this peak. This is probably a combination of phase issues and the fact that this is not cleaned up yet. They exaggerate the problem usually. Tulsi, welcome. How are you doing? Hi-hats could have a little bit more volume. They could be a bit more rounded off here in the higher frequencies, a little bit snappier. Sound fairly quiet. I would also like a snare at this point. There is a snare in there, but it's way too quiet. I agree, yes. Very nice kick and bass. I like the tonality of it. It just needs to be cleaned up. It does say excellent connection now, but I cannot check. I can reload this page, I guess. You back? You back? Nice. Okay. Let me fix the chat real quick. Just pop this over here. I'll just continue playback for the last part here. We left off with this track over here. You can see it was still technically playing, but now I should be able to play it. And this is then the final MP3 version of this track here, which you also play. It's gonna take a second for it to load, and then it should be okay. Hopefully. Do I maybe need to download this then? I'll just quickly try downloading it. It's gonna take 14 seconds. 10. And then we'll see. I'll play it from there. Again, the connection is not the most stable because I already saw it dip in the orange again. No, not Winamp. I want... to play this with... Sorry guys, it's confusing here. Open with this, yes. Now I can play where we started off, which is here-ish. Winamp, yeah, I'm experimenting with their visuals actually. It was the best part and it got frozen. Yeah, we're starting over. I started it from a little bit further back. We're still at the part where the vocals are in here. If you're gonna put the vocals in here, I would lower the delay a little bit, make the vocals themselves louder. Because now they're sitting in the background and that doesn't really make sense to me. It should be, I think, one of the main things that should catch your attention here. because vocals tend to be quite unique. Nice flow through this part here. A little bit on the loud side on that element as well. I think I pointed out some other elements that were a little bit loud. And elements like that should have a nice stereo feel to them. It shouldn't be completely mono. Like that, that's much better. Although it's slightly too loud as well, that sound. At least stereo-wise, it is very nice. Take those pointers into account, you have an awesome track here. Yes, the idea is very good, I really like it. The final thing I would say is that the track is lacking a little bit of aggression, right? I talked about your drums are not really snappy enough before we had the crash. Here the acid line as well, it doesn't really come through because there's some other atmosphere playing that keeps everything slow. Like the track doesn't really speed up in this point here. Now we get to the vocals. Here is where the track should be slow, and that's what you're doing. I would put that stuff in the fill. That drum thing. Then it wouldn't cover up the vocals as much either. I don't know if I already said it, but the bass line could be 2 dB louder, maybe? Maybe not 2, maybe 1.5-ish, something like that. Because your kick is nice and strong here. The bass line is a little bit lacking. Also, I think I already mentioned it, but clean it up, resample it, whatever you need to do. Make sure that it's clean. These plugins over here are all Signalizer, all versions of Signalizer.
Appears to be divided into two realms, described by two different sets of physical laws. The quantum, which is immaterial.
I can show it here. In resources, there should be a rack of mine somewhere.
Some ultimate truth, although we don't know what it is yet. Deeper levels of reality, and in many senses,
yes,
spirit-like.
Right here, you see my analyzers. If you have Signalizer downloaded and installed and working, you can just download this rack from the 14th, and then you should be able to get it. And then you get the exact same setup as I have. Right here I would pause the bass line for one beat at least. You just install Signalizer and then you put the Ableton Analyzers thing, that 8DG file, wherever you have your other preset files for the audio effect track. Again here, if you want to put in the vocal, they should probably become the main element of this part and you should write around them. If not, I would remove them because they add another layer of clutter that takes away your focus from the main melody that you have going on right here. Overall, very nice track. I really like it. Really enjoyed it. Sounds very good. But definitely some work needs to be done. Some delay tails are going for very long here. Sounds strange that the whole song is already finished and then the delays is still going. I would have expected it to stop with the other one. Anyway, that was Synth Ergetic. Very cool song here. We will now listen to Happy here. Silastry Inside Confusion. And then we'll finish off the stream with this track over here. Very modulated, dirty start here. I would remove the lower frequencies in here because you don't really need those. Yeah, you have all of this lower frequency mess going on here, and even in the mid-range it's very muddy, very undefined. I would try to fix that a little bit. Bassline is a little bit too loud in my opinion. It also needs cleaning up. You can see it pushing around the transient here. You definitely don't want that. I also feel like this bass note is the most important one in the groove. I would lower this velocity a little bit, or its volume a little bit, in regards to that one. So you get a better groove. But I like the sound design that you have going on here. Kick feels a little bit quiet. I think that's partially because the bassline is too loud, as I said. But if you don't fix it with just turning down the bassline, you could turn up the kick maybe 1 or 2 dB. So that it just gets a little bit more presence, that kick. The rest of the mix is actually quite good, the spectral balance and how the drums sit in here and all of that stuff. Very nice, very groovy. When you're doing kick fills like that, you want to make sure that the kick fill is not louder than the kick and bass itself. Right now you have it in a way that the kick fill already takes out all of the energy when the kick then comes in. For the first segment or for the first kick of the drop, it doesn't have that impact that you want from it. It doesn't surprise people with the big oomph that it could have. Very loud impact here. It's louder than the kick and bass. You don't want that. You do want to have some punch and some power from that, but you don't want it to be so strong that it's louder than the kick and bass itself. I'm still just generally amazed by almost any Sidetrance song. Still can't imagine how people come up with such ideas. Really cool. I mean, it's just practice, I guess. But stuff like this, yeah, you need to spend a long time thinking about how you're going to make something like this. Because there's the attention to detail in this track as well. Here I would say it's strange that this melody comes in here. This melody feels a bit off. I feel like here the track is getting too busy. Snare here seems to have a strong fundamental frequency. I would remove that if I were you. You can see it jump up here as well if the snare plays. And again, there's some drum percussion that has a lower frequency rumble. I would remove that. Overall, very, very nice track. I do really like it. Next up, and the final track of today, is going to be the track from Phil Lil, the one that we tried to listen to before but couldn't get through because of the connection issues. Let's hope that it goes better this time in MP3. Weird stereo with stuff going on the bass line here. You wouldn't want to make those lower frequency stereo, which is what you're doing here. Also, this is your cue to resample, because this is definitely not clean. Same with the kick, by the way. If you use the kick like this, you should resample it. I'm not track seems so basic at the moment. More practice. Thanks again for your feedback. You're welcome. I hope that it helps. You definitely need some more stuff happening at this part. Yeah, I do agree. There's not enough excitement happening in this area here. 2 to 5,000 hertz. You have the atmospheres kind of down below here, and then your head's up top here, but in the middle there's nothing happening. So it feels very empty. Yeah, a sound like that could really help fill out the spectrum. You can see how it fills that out, right? And right now still you have very much dark stuff happening and not a lot of stuff up here. You can see how empty the spaces still are. I said something about the vocals not being synchronized with the beat. I meant not the speech vocals, but the other vocals that are in there. That Cashmere sample. I think at least it's a Cashmere sample, but the one that is like rhythmical vocals that you also bring back in the drop. And to be honest, in the intro I would just remove them. They sounded a bit off in the intro, and I think your intro would be better without those vocals in there. Again, not the speech vocals. You need to make more space for the speech vocals, I would say. Here, I'm not a fan of your snare. This low fundamental is not needed. And I feel like we're getting into the territory where the track is becoming a little bit too complex. I think it was the transgate on vocals. Not even those. No, it's not that vocal pad. It was the like rhythmical worded vocal loop, I guess. This is very low synth here, is making no progress. It's not going up. It's not moving the track forward. It's just kind of going at the same tone. I would choose to modulate it up in some way, either filter cutoff or any other parameter that just moves the track forward, you know what I mean? What would also be nice is an open hat sometimes. This sounded very random. Suddenly there is an extra sub bass in here. Because it's still there, that sub bass. I don't know why you're layering bass lines. I wouldn't do that. Either go for the sliding bass or go for the rolling bass line, not both. It was a low pass bass and the speech on top without gate. That's why I don't get it. It wasn't the speech, it was the vocal loop in the intro. Okay, then it makes sense, yeah. The vocal loop wasn't in sync with the kick and bass. I don't know about the speech. To be honest, I don't remember. If it would have been a problem, I would have probably pointed it out. One thing I did, I think, point out was that you needed more space for the spoken vocal in there. The extra kick seems too loud. I do agree, it doesn't really need to be there because the bassline, I think, continues to play on that kick, so it's causing issues as well. That's why it's getting louder. It's because it's there summing with the bassline. So, for one, I wouldn't have that many of those kicks in there anyway. Right? Of those double kicks, every bar is too much. I would do it like every 4 bars, maybe. when you have those double kicks, you want to remove the bass line so that you actually have the space and the lower frequencies to put that kick there. That's why you also don't play bass line and kick at the same time normally. You have to apply that same thing to the bass as well. And there's no reason for the kick to still be there. You can just have a normal fade out there. But yeah, I hope that feedback is helpful. I'm going to end it here for today. I'm getting pretty tired and I have still some work to do, as you can imagine, for the new label, which I again want to point out. You guys can follow us over here, especially your YouTube subscribers. We'd like to see that get to 50 very, very soon. I was going to say I wanted it to be at 50 before the end of the stream, but I think that that's a little bit ambitious. Still, go follow us, go support us there, and in 2 days the music will be out. We also have a SoundCloud page, a Bandcamp label page, we have a Facebook, we have a TikTok, we have a Twitter, we have an Instagram, so you can follow us everywhere you want, and you can support us everywhere you want. And that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I hope that the feedback was helpful. And we should see each other next week, somewhere during the week, because I want to do another high-tech from scratch stream. But that's going to be it. That last section, I think people only did it once, which is really nice in my opinion. Never mind, my typing doesn't make sense. It is hard to understand what you were saying. Yeah, I do agree. Anyway, I'm going to end it here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next week during the week. Maybe I'll stream again on Thursday with the release of our music, so that I've thrown another little release party then.